There is two kinds of music, the good and the bad. I play the good kind. I really like how this quote simplifies music into these two categories. But what is good music? What is bad music? How do we define it? There is some music that is subjectively good, others objective. For example, if I played this to you, I think most of us can agree that that is objectively bad music. It doesn't follow the typical qualities we see in good music, such as use of motifs, harmony, rhythm, just to name a few examples. So when I posted on my community tab a couple of weeks ago that modern music is bad, I was really intrigued to see what people would say regardless of what side of the spectrum they sat on. And I'm really grateful for your replies because I think it opens up a really interesting discussion. Is modern music bad? And does that even have a definitive answer? When you Google the decline of modern music or modern music is getting bad, you of course are going to find so many articles and opinions online supporting this opinion. Even science shows that this is true. Published on the 26th of July 2012, a research study called Measuring the Evolution of Contemporary Western Popular Music was released, and it has been used as evidence to show that modern music is actually declining, and these are some of the points it makes. In the most simple way, it states that there are three factors that they have noticed have declined and that this may be contributing to the decline in popular Western music. These three things were timbral variety, pitch, and loudness. Basically, these 3 points go to show that less interesting instruments are being chosen, resulting in less interesting timbral variety, resulting in less interesting harmonic progressions, resulting in less interesting melodies, and also everything is far too loud, removing the nuance in music, which can also be referenced to as the loudness wall. This study analysed 1 million contemporary songs, which when you think of it like that, it's kind of like watching Cats the musical and saying all musicals must suck. I'm sorry, I don't like Cats. Obviously, Cats does not represent all musicals. And here is where I kind of trailed off the first time. I went through each of these 3 points and kind of talked about why I struggle to measure the value of art only using these 3 things, because there's context and so much more to consider when measuring the value of art. So many videos have been made regarding this study that I felt like I wasn't actually adding anything new to this discussion. Art is for the soul, and it's that beautiful, amazing thing in this world that I really don't think can be measured. Of course, you can watch a film, listen to a piece of music, read a book, and make a list of certain things that it does that make it more enjoyable than something that doesn't do certain factors, and I'm acknowledging that and I know that. But I do believe there is also something that we cannot measure, which is just the beauty of art. For example, if I measured Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata against timbral variety, well, it's already losing on the timbral variety front because we only have a piano playing. Yet undoubtedly, I think most people when they hear this piece of music can acknowledge how freaking beautiful it is. Even for a classical noob like me, I know this is good stuff. So what was the first piece of music you remember falling in love with? That piece of art that just moved you and forever will. In terms of music, for me, it's ABBA. The reason I ask this is because I do believe that there is a psychological component to how we perceive art when we first heard a certain type of art, and as we go through the course of our lives, we interpret art differently. Not a psychologist, don't claim to be. I'm just going to share some experiences that I have had that I think others may have had also. For example, it's around 2014 and I'm listening to some songs by the band Genesis. I listen to the big ones, I enjoy them, and I move on. I don't think too much about them, and that's kind of how it goes. A few years later, I see good old Taylor Swift doing a cover of I Can't Stop Loving You, which led me to listening to Phil Collins' version of I Can't Stop Loving You, which is actually a cover, and I didn't find that out till a while later, which resulted me to going into the rabbit hole of listening to Genesis, watching concerts of them, and diving into their wonderfully weird music, which is just so unique. But it wasn't until I dived deeper into their catalogue, started listening to their really obscure songs like Mama and Domino, that I really fell in love with them. So does that mean that their music was bad in 2014? No. Maybe the people we are, the life experience we've had, and the situations we're in play a large part in how we perceive and react to certain types of art. Genesis were not a bad band 10 years ago. They just weren't for me at that time. Another point I hear being made to support the argument that modern music is bad or mainstream music is bad is that the lyrics are very simplistic, boring, and there's nothing unique about them. I'm so sorry to do this, but I think it's got to be a really good example. Let's take a look at the Beatles. So through my reaction series, you probably saw me really enjoying a lot of their songs and some weren't for me. But during my reaction, I really enjoyed the song She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. It was a simple, catchy song and that was its intent and it did that very well. However, if I heard that song and walked away thinking, wow, the Beatles really aren't that great at lyrics, they kind of are pretty boring, simple, there's nothing that clever about them. As we know, that is not a fair representation of their work. If I stopped at listening to She Loves You, I never would have had the opportunity to listen to She's Leaving Home and While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And I think something similar is occurring with mainstream music. What if that catchy song you hear on the radio or that's on the top 40 is the equivalent to the Beatles' She Loves You, but because we don't take that extra chance to sit down and actually listen to the more complex works in an album, we dismiss the works and the artists and we dismiss mainstream music as not being very good. And another way I see mainstream music being evaluated is when it extends to the artists themselves. And one qualification, I guess you could say, of mainstream artists that they're failing in is that they can't play instruments. Obviously there are many artists who play instruments. However, does that mean people like Adele, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande have no value as a creative because they don't choose to sit down to play a piano? I'm saying choose because I believe some of them play piano to write. And to see the other perspective, I totally see playing an instrument is a very beneficial thing to have as an artist, but I don't think not being able to play an instrument strips away your worth as a creative and as a singer especially. And I think we can enjoy both. We can enjoy the artists who do play instruments, and we can also choose artists who perhaps are more lyrical and who create melodies through their voice and have people who help them create that stuff. And I'm not oblivious, I know there are many songwriters out there and performers who don't write their own songs. There's nothing I can do about that. I acknowledge that. But there are also a lot of great artists who do write their own songs. So to jump to the community tab that I posted a few weeks ago, this is kind of the main points I was able to see in your comments. That good and bad music have always existed, we just have weeded out the bad ones from the past. Some people say popular music is good. Good music is out there, it's just not on the radio. That there are many cringy lyrics in comparison to people in the past. That the music industry itself is bad and is less likely to take risks. Some of you said that if you think modern music is rubbish, you aren't looking hard enough. And I found that to be the main gist. There was a spectrum, music is bad. There's always been bad music and good music, you just need to find for it, and then good music is out there. So I kind of have a confession. 90%, 95% of the music I listen to in my spare time is not on the top 40, it's not on the radio. And it's been like this for quite a few years now. Every now and then I'll go to the top 40 or the popular thing on Spotify and I'll listen to them. There are some songs I'm like, oh my god. But then there are some other songs I come across and I really enjoy. I came across Joji's A Glimpse of Us. Stunning. When I found her, another song, great. I like Bum 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 by Camila Cabello and Ed Sheeran. There's a lot of fun stuff out there. So a lot of the artists I do listen to are modern artists, but they are not mainstream. And I think it would be a real shame for people to think that there's no good music out there just because they're not on the radio. And if pop music is not really your current thing, I can understand why people think music kind of sucks. But there's so much good work out there. I'm going to leave a comment thread down below where I want people, if you want to, just leave artists, modern artists you love, because I think there's so much great stuff out there. We just maybe need to share it a little bit more. A few that I personally love, Marina. Lyrics is what got me. Her voice I found really unique and I really love how unique she is, really. I just love her. Kaleo, Icelandic band with blues, soul and rock and folk all combined into one, and they do it masterfully. The singer has one of the most amazing voices. I just love Hans Zimmer, Ava Max, the 1975, George Ezra, and the list goes on. Some of these are on the radio, but many of them are not. And so I just wanted to share my love of them for you, so maybe you can take a chance if you think modern music isn't so good anymore.
Take a chance on me.
I also get really frustrated when I hear another comment being made that generalizes all modern musicians, really, that no one can sing anymore. Apparently everyone is dependent on auto-tune, which obviously I know that's a generalized statement, but it really feels like people say it like this, that no one can sing anymore. You don't have those singers anymore that just hop up on stage and can like belt out a tune. But there is, like there is. So I get so confused when I hear that. There are so many artists all over social media, like YouTube, that just sing and have amazing vocals, and there's so many talented people on TikTok, and I really think the misconception that no one can sing anymore is just that, a misconception. So did I actually answer the question of does mainstream music suck? Well, one of my thoughts is, if a belief is that modern music isn't great, more specifically mainstream music isn't great because record labels don't take risks on artists, perhaps it's time for us to start behaving like the record labels and take a risk on an artist, or delve into an actual album of an artist and see what's going on there. To tie it into what I was saying before, I think who you are as a person, experiencing things for the first time, hearing a pop song for the first time as an 8-year-old with these same 4 chord progressions is probably going to hit a little bit different to hearing a song when you're 40 with the same 4 chord progressions. I think there is a psychological element. I think there's a lot to do with you as an individual and what you're experiencing through your life. And if this video has done anything, I really hope the thread below and some of the artists I've mentioned here have piqued your curiosity to go check out some modern artists, because oh my goodness, there's so much great stuff out there. And if you want that great stuff to be on the mainstream stuff, maybe we need to be a bit more vocal in sharing it. And maybe I should plug myself. Hey, I'm a musician and I sing. I think some of my stuff is really cool. Check it out on my second channel. Everyone's clicked off. Okay. Anyways, I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching, and bye.